Now loading. Zero's Game Room.
Welcome to Zero's Game Room, where all things gaming takes place. Interviews, discussions, and the latest gaming news. So take a seat, get comfortable, adjust your headset, because it's game time. Here's your host, Zero.
Come on in, get yourself checked in, because you have just entered Zero's Game Room. I am your host, Zero, and my co-host, Onpred. Did he get that fire slip? Yeah, because I kind of fired him, potentially, maybe, at least for this one episode. And you might have already heard, we have a returning guest today. He is the one, the only, the Microsoft master, the king himself, literally, Garrison King. Welcome back to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me, my friend.
Dude, no, I've missed having you on the show. No, you know what? It's not Zero's Game Room today. It's Garrison's Game Grotto.
Garrison's Game Grotto.
There you go. That's what you're here. That's what you're listening to. We are still talking about E3. You probably have wondered, well, we talked about Nintendo. Why haven't we talked about Microsoft? Because Microsoft, and as much as I hate to admit this, had a really, good...
Come on.
They had a great press conference, okay? Not as great as Nintendo's. Not as great as Nintendo's. Nintendo took E3. But, my guy, what did you think of Microsoft? They came out with guns a-blazing. They presented, 60 games, a bunch of indie titles.
60 games.
They were on it. You were there at the press conference.
I was there. I was actually sitting next to an Xbox employee, which was pretty cool because he was just as excited as I was for a lot of the things.
Oh, my gosh.
But it was really, really good, I will say. Overall, just a very good press conference. Now, with Xbox and, consequently Sony, they're prepping up for the next. They're saving their ammo for the next console war, right?
Yeah, we're all expecting PS5 versus Project Scarlet here at this point.
Exactly. So you didn't get to see a lot of the, and this is where for me I felt like it was a little underwhelming because with last year's E3 they announced that they acquired 10 studios. They're making this own studio called I forget the Initiative,
right?
And they're gonna make these quad A games and all this. So I'm like, finally, we get to see something that they've been working on, but you really didn't. And so for me, it was underwhelming in that regards because I was ready to see the games. I'm just Microsoft's getting their chips and ducks in a row. So when 2019 E3 rolls around, they're just gonna throw haymakers left and right. And they had some big announcement, but I'm like, man. With all this power in the Xbox One X, I feel like Xbox Game Studios haven't delivered the game to really flex what we have at home.
Right, because this is considered what is right now the most powerful console on the market. So they should be taking advantage, especially with all these collective studios come out with these fascinating games. And like we said, it feels like they haven't brought, what makes this Xbox One so much better than just buying a regular Xbox One or an Xbox One S? What game out there is just flexing on look what we got. Oh yeah, Sony, you have this, but we got bam.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I was expecting, and that's why I was kind of let down. Also, because it's we got some things cooking, but we're gonna wait to drop those until Project Scarlet's released. So for me, that's a little underwhelming, but they did show off 60 games, some of them exclusives. Some of them I'm really excited for. I'm really excited for Ori. I'm really excited for the Outer Worlds. So it's it's not. A complete loss. It's still a good conference because of so much they showed off. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was man, I kind of wish I would have liked to see more games coming out this year or soon in the near future. And that's why I think, and we can agree that Nintendo won E3 is because they're still playing for the now with their console. And they announced, some great titles. But Xbox, they got some things cooking, and I cannot wait to see them. So.
While you were there during the press conference, did you get to any insider information about the developer that you sat next to? Or employee at Microsoft?
Yeah, he was he works with some of the third-party studios. So I think he has something with Capcom because he was pretty excited with the Dragon Ball Z release and some other of the third-party games. So he didn't really, drop too much, but he was just as enthused with all the other things, like seeing Keanu Reeves come out.
I was just about to ask that.
We were I looked at him, he looked at me, we're like, what? And we're just mind blown, crazy dope time.
Yeah, that was with Cyberpunk 2077. What do you think of Cyberpunk? Because, like, I know the internet is totally going crazy for it. What was your opinion and on seeing Keanu Reeves?
Well, Keanu, I wasn't expecting, and he's at an all-time high right now. I don't think he could do any wrong with John Wick and all his other appearances.
Exactly, yeah.
But it was, I think the game I'm pretty excited for because CD Projekt Red, for those that don't know, they made the Witcher series. So the Witcher 2 and 3 were very highly regarded by the critics, and commercially it did really well. So this, in a whole new futuristic setting, you can modify your character with robotic augmentations, kind of akin to what's that Square Enix game, Deus Ex.
Deus Ex, yep.
And just modify your characters. And if you know their caliber of storytelling and world building, that's a reason alone to get excited for Cyberpunk 2077, because just to be in that world and for how good it was looking and to have these kind of customization options, I'm really excited about that game.
It looks fantastic, and I'm telling you, slowly, after this press conference, I definitely am interested, more so on the fact that they have Project Scarlet. It just sounds appetizing. Sounds like something I want to do. But with all the games that came out, is there one game in particular? Because I know a bunch of fans are excited for Gears 5. Some people are excited, and it could be one of those games like Borderlands 3. Personally, I really want to get a squad up and start playing some Borderlands, so that's kind of what I'm into. But other than Ori and the Wild of the Wisps, what else did they have? They had that Star Wars Jedi Fallen of the Order, Blair Witch. What other games do you remember that you're like, oh yeah, this is something I'm looking forward to from Microsoft?
Without question, I'm really excited for Bleeding Edge. It's the game made by the people that made Hellblade.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like a kind of Overwatch-esque with melee combat. You got your different colorful characters fighting it out and team co-op. Team versus team deathmatch, which I'm kind of intrigued by. I didn't get to play it, unfortunately. They did have some demos out there, but I was waiting in line to play the Gears 5 Hive Buster thing, which I'm pretty excited for Gears 5 as well, because I'm a big fan of the series, been playing it since the original and all the way up. It just, has a very fond place in my heart because it just reminds me of how important co-op is, playing with my brother, playing with some of my friends for Gears 4. And the story that they're telling now, I'm very intrigued by, so kind of interested to see how those beats keep going. But for me, I would say overall, the game for me that I'm looking forward to the most is Borderlands 3. I did get a chance to play that. Big fan of that series as well for the same reasons. But just the abilities that they had to show during the demo, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so dope. So that's for me. That's hands down my favorite, most looking forward to game.
I mean, I would agree with you only because, I think it's also going to be on PS4 or PS whatever the frick they call it. And it's going to be on PS4. We know that much. Yeah. But Borderlands, like you said, it's one of those games where I feel like co-op doesn't get enough love and attention, and it really should, because it's so important. Because how fun is it, especially to play online, get some buddies, go online. Like, I know me and my friend Grayson, we jump on Borderlands. We want to prepare for this, so we actually do have Borderlands: The Handsome Collection.
Nice.
So we're playing through the pre-sequel right now. I know that Borderlands 1 is going to get an HD remaster. It's going to get, released. And also we have Borderlands 2 because of the Handsome Collection. And we want to get ready for that because it's a lot of fun to just play online and play with your buddies and whatnot. So co-op, huge, huge, huge deal. Like I said, obviously Microsoft did come with guns a-blazing. But did you get any hands-on / more info on Microsoft's xCloud streaming service? And overall, how do you feel about it?
Well, they've been hinting at this for a while, and I tell people if Microsoft and Xbox had done their original E3 conference when they announced the Xbox One, if they did that today, they would not get nearly the backlash that they got back then. I've been saying this for years that Microsoft's been playing for the future, and the xCloud is the child of that. I always have the concerns of bandwidth issues and being able to have enough internet to do game streaming and play anywhere type of things. but I know Microsoft's been tinkering with this idea for a while, and I believe in Phil Spencer, the president over there, because he is a gamer. And I was telling the Xbox employee that I was sitting next to, I was like, I can tell that he's a gamer because of how he talks to the audience, how he is enthused about the games that he's showing off. He puts what we want first above, the money thing. So I really appreciate that. I did get to see a little bit of it. The line was kind of crazy in the Xbox's display area just to check it out. But it has some really cool ideas, being able to play everywhere, kind of akin to what Google's trying to do with the Stadia.
Mm-hmm.
But, obviously you get the Xbox, which is a super powerful console, or Project Scarlet, I should say, which was going to be a super powerful console, and then your computer, your tablet, whatever. So it's an interesting idea. I have to wait till it's implemented into like actual use to see and pass judgment on it. But I am skeptical, optimistically skeptical, I guess is a phrase I'll make up right now.
I think that's a great way to describe it, because like you're trying to be optimistic, you want to stay on the positive side, but you're also skeptical because it does seem like, is this really the future?
Yeah,
is this really the way to go? Look, I even made a little bit of a I don't know if I'd call it change, but a little bit of an epiphany yesterday. I was talking to my co-host Onpred, and we were just talking about like the Nintendo Switch and stuff, and I started realizing that like, as much as I really like having a physical copy of a game, having just a digital copy of a game on my Switch is so convenient. So now imagine streaming, how convenient that would be. Just be like, I'm in the mood to play this. Oh, it's up on the Xbox cloud. I'm going to play some whatever. And maybe I'm like, hey, I don't want to play on my console. Maybe I want to play on my laptop. Well, guess what? My laptop's not the strongest thing in the world. It's more tailored to like video editing because it's got a stronger processor and not a dedicated graphics card. But with streaming services, you don't need a hyper beast computer to play these AAA titles. And I think it comes down to like, yes, we want to be optimistic, but it's also very skeptical because like, is this really it? But the conveniency alone drives this force of like, yeah, it's at my fingertips. Like I said, like I was always a fan and still am, I think, of physical copy games. But just with Hollow Knight and just other digital games I have on my Switch, the conveniency. I think that's the key word. Convenience.
Yeah, I would agree. I think we all needed to catch up with where these people were thinking we were headed, because it wasn't until I got my Switch and I got had to switch out cartridges all the time, and I was like, well, let me get Smash Brothers digitally.
Yeah.
And just to be able to switch to that on the fly.
No pun intended.
You know what I mean? and same thing with Xbox. Like I ended up buying some games that I know I'm going to play very often. I bought those digitally, so I wouldn't have to keep getting up and going to the Xbox and putting in the disc. Now, trust me, I still love the smell of a game case.
Oh, me too.
As well as the next gamer. But I also love being lazy and not having to get up and switch games into the Xbox. So, I think it was similar situation for me as well. It's like I had to kind of grow into it, and once I saw the vision, I don't know if there's any turning back, man.
Dude, seriously, that's kind of what I came to, and I feel like maybe because I know when Google Stadia was announced, a lot of people were like, and then with Project X Cloud, I feel like a lot of people are very skeptical about it. But like, what if we're just behind the cusp? What if we just don't see it yet? Because I remember when it's like, oh, all digital. No, I love my physical cartridges, but then you actually start tampering in a little bit, and you're like, well, maybe it's not so bad.
Right? No, I'm the same way, and it's interesting because it's one of those things where you have to be careful if you're a developer, because you could play the role of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna force this on you, like Xbox was doing back in 2013, and people were like steadfast hard against it. Or it's one of those things where we can ease into it and let us make our own decision, because that's how you get people to do what you want. Make it feel like it's their decision.
It's true. It's like, we'll give you the option. And then once you try it, it's like, oh, I made a decision. They didn't force it down my throat. I chose to do it this way.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing I also wanted to touch on while we're talking about Project xCloud is, did you get any like time, or what did you think of Halo Infinite and the whole idea of like Halo still being alive in the Microsoft community?
Well, it's one of those things like we've waited this long. What's another year? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it makes the most sense to launch it with Project Scarlet because it's a game that Xbox can trust. It's a game that they know will move units. Mm-hmm. And a familiar mascot to the whole brand of Xbox that, you know, they don't really have that many. If you think of like Nintendo or PlayStation, Master Chief is that mascot for Xbox. So it makes the most sense to just, you know, wait, make sure it's perfect, make sure that the story's actually good this time, and then just lean into what Halo does, which is excellent gunplay and team fighting and just a moving story. So I'm cool with it. I'm cool with waiting. I'm cool with waiting for it. It's the hype. The trailer, you know, had just the right amount of hype and a lot of questions to be answered. So they got me on the hook, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Nice. No, I would agree. Like Halo is something I remember playing with my friend because, again, I've never been an Xbox fan, but my friend had an Xbox 360 and he'd come over and I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed Halo. It's a lot of fun. Team fighting and gunning around, it's a lot of fun. What did you think of like the new Xbox like the Elite controllers, that new stuff, and like switching stuff out and like the joysticks moving them about?
Man, if I wasn't such a broke boy, I would have bought like 5 of those already. Those look so sexy. And it's not
I never
like
thought a controller would be sexy.
Are you kidding? It's 2019, my friend.
We can call all types of controllers sexy.
Yeah, talk about a rumble pack, if you know what I mean. But yeah,
King all over here. But bro, those things are expensive.
Yeah, they're crazy expensive. I'll probably never own one. But for those that need it, it's perfect. It's perfect for them because it showed in the trailer and the demo that you can, you know, fine tune your joysticks. You can do the hair trigger system. You can, you know, there's so many moddable options there.
The convenient buttons on the back of like where you have the grips. It's
yeah,
it's a gamer's dream.
So many, and I'm pretty simple gamer. Like I'm not a pro gamer at all, so it's not necessarily for me. I'm good with the OG controller.
Yeah,
but just seeing all of those options, I know there's a market out there for it. And I did see some other controllers with, you know, Astro has their new controller and it's moddable for, you know, PS4 or for Xbox. You could switch the joysticks out, but they don't have nearly as many options as the Xbox Elite controller version 2. So very, very dope. Xbox, if you're listening, I would love to try it out. You know, give some feedback for you. Just let me keep
we would love to. We can, you know, we have the guy. Garrison King is the Microsoft guy. So I don't know if you all want to work with us. Hey, you want to switch me to that side? I'm just saying. I'm not saying it would work. I'm just saying I'm interested to test out new equipment. You know, it's what we do here. We like technology. Man. We like video games, you know. So if you want to shoot us a little something.
A little song.
We won't say no, is what I'm saying. Overall, as we're wrapping up this episode, what did you think overall of Microsoft this year as opposed to other years?
I think it's a lull year. But I am so glad that they came to the party. Like, I know Sony didn't have a lot of things to show off, and like how many times have we seen trailers for Death Stranding or Ghost of Tsushima or whatever it's called? Like, it's only so many times you can show those things off. So I get why they didn't do it, but Xbox showing that they're still busy, man. They're still in the kitchen cooking. They're still thinking about gamers. PC gamers got a lot of love this year with the Xbox Game Pass coming to PC.
Right.
So I always love seeing those things because it advocates for a fun time. It's not just business and, you know, oh yeah, you know, studio this, studio that, yeah, that. But don't forget, you can play all these games right now, 100 titles on your PC. I think that's dope. So for me, it kind of stays consistent with their messaging and kind of the road that they're going, the path that they're going down, which is, you know, put gamers first. You know, have these cool systems and features that are opt-in, so they're not forced upon you. You can opt into them, and eventually, you know, you discover like, yo, digital games are dope. Like, I don't have to get up and switch CD or discs out all the time. So I'm really, I'm just a fanboy in general. So I will say they had a good conference, but like I mentioned earlier, a bit underwhelming. I would have loved to see a trailer or something to see what Xbox Game Studios have been working on for Project Scarlet. Would have loved to see a new title, new IP, and get some hype rolling for holiday year 2020.
Nope, I would agree. I would agree. I would wholeheartedly agree that they had a solid conference moving forward. I'm excited. My eyes are on them, mostly because, Sony wasn't there. They weren't at the party. So we'll see how this next console war will go. But thank you so much, Garrison. You're always welcome on the show, especially if you got some hot juiciness going on up in the Microsoft world.
I feel like you only call me once a year. So right around the time of E3.
No, we need to have you more often. If I hear, bro, no, it's going to be you, me, Onfit. I don't know how we'll find a way, but we need to play some Borderlands sometime. I feel like that'd be a lot of fun. I don't know how we'd do it. Wait, you have a PS4 now, don't you?
I do, but I would play that exclusively on Xbox.
I'm just saying, right now, if you didn't know, if you have a PS Plus, Borderlands The Handsome Collection is free. Just throwing that out there. Just throwing it out.
Yeah, that's fine. Throw it. I ain't going to catch it, but throw it.
But thank you so much. We need to call you more often is essentially what.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. If you guys appreciated my takes, you can follow me on Twitter.
Yes, please plug yourself in.
At Takegar, TAKEGARR, or on Instagram at Garrison King, and then you can find me on most gaming platforms. G King the Law. That's my handle. So let's game some time, and if you're an Xbox fan, staying like me, hit me up.
There you go. Thank you so much, and until next time, the doors to this episode of Zero's Game Room are officially closed.